And even though we don't have Tony DeRusso, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome this morning to the Manatee County Tourist Development Council meeting for February 24th, 2025. We will go ahead with our Pledge of Allegiance, and Tony was going to lead the invocation, so unless we have a volunteer who can do that for us, we may just have a moment of silence. Do we have any takers on a snap invocation?
I'll do it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Our chamber.
All right, thanks, Mayor. Let's do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If everyone still stand for the pledge or for the invocation. All right. Heavenly Father, grace us today as we go through our TDC meeting to talk about all of the tourists and all of our community that comes together. As we saw this weekend, we had a great event. Safety is number one as we look towards things, as we had an unprecedented storm season last year, and we had no deaths in Manatee County through all the three storms we had. It's very important. We know your hand was on us. We appreciate that, and we look forward to a productive meeting and a productive year as we all work together as one community. In your name, we say amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you, Mayor. That was wonderful. And I will say really quickly, I took the kids out to Burger and Pancake House on, I guess it was Saturday night. And as we were driving back across the bridge to Bradenton, the fireworks were going off for the regatta. It was amazing. We got like the best view of it all, and it was so cool. You should have heard the girls oohing and ahhing over it. So now it's time for our introductions. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Amanda Ballard. I am a Manatee County Commissioner for District 2. I represent Palmetto, a little bit of Southern Ellington, and Bradenton from Manatee Memorial Hospital over to 75, and then I stretch down into Samosat, Oneiko, et cetera.
All right, Mayor Gene Brown, City of Bradenton, and when it comes time, I'll give a little bit of a review of that fireworks and all the great things that happened this weekend. So just enjoy being on this board and appreciate what everybody does for our community.
Dan Diggins, good morning. I'm Commissioner, the Commission Chair at Holmes Beach, and first meeting here, so I look forward to working with this fine group here. Thank you.
Eric Cairns, Cedar Cove Resorts, Anna Maria Island.
Rahul Patel. I have hotels in Bradenton, Ellington, some in Sarasota and down south. I represent also on the Asian American Hotel Owners Association, and been fondly working with this committee for 4 years now.
Norma Kennedy, and I'm an interested citizen on the board here.
I'm David Wick, and I'm also an interested citizen position on the board.
Good morning, Elliot Felchoni, Tourism Director for Manatee County. Madam Chair, just a couple thoughts. First, welcome, Dan, Commissioner Dan Diggins. For some of you that know, Dan was an incredible steward working with our team to try to accommodate the water ferry in Holmes Beach. And he hasn't given up yet, and we haven't given up yet. So incredibly intelligent, just good community steward. So really excited that you're on the TDC. And then Tony DeRusso, who's obviously geographically challenged. And let that be on the record, Madam Secretary. Tony is, for some strange reason, he drove out to Anna Maria Island, so he's the managing partner of the Marriott Resort and Spa in Palmetto, so we're excited to have him. And Madam Chair, for those of you who don't know Commissioner Ballard very well, I've gotten to know her over the past year or so. Incredibly intelligent. Of course, she's an attorney, and really good business acumen, and a really good listener, And I think the other thing that I love about Commissioner Ballard is what she says she does. So we're real excited to have you on the TDC. Let's have fun, and let's get some things done for the greater good of the community. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Elliot, and I'm very excited to be here. So now,
Hi, Jiten Patel, Doubletree by Hilton, Sarasota Bradenton Airport.
thank you so much. So now we need to approve our meeting minutes from November 14th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Our meeting minutes for November 14th, 2024 are approved. Now we can move on to public comment. Do we have any public comment today? Seeing no public comment, I will close public comment, and we can move on to a tourism tax update from Michelle Schultz.
Madam Chair, if I can just do a little commercial for Michelle.
Please.
She hates me. For those of you who don't know Michelle, she obviously is one of Ken Burton's key senior management staff. She is the best of the best. There are horror stories around the state of Florida sometimes when you hear about counties struggling to collect tax, and her staff just do an outstanding job. She communicates great with me and our team over there. So, Michelle, thank you for what you do. And I know something changed January 1, so I'm sure you'll update us on that as well.
Thank you, Elliot. Good morning, council, and thank you for having me. And Elliot, of course, thank you for your partnership. I appreciate it. So Elliot asked me to give you just a quick 5-minute update. He said you have a very packed agenda today, so I want to be respectful of that. So the first thing that we'll talk about is on the collection front. I am sure you anticipated, as well as we did, that with the storms we would be down on our collections. So as you saw, for November we were down 17.71%. And for December, we were down 16.6%. I would like to say, though, that for November and December, we are typically, those are our slower months, even though year over year they've been going up. So I think for you all as the council, I think January through April is really going to tell the tale on how those areas are recovering that were really hard hit from the storm. As far as steps that we've taken, we had to be very very aware, I guess you could say, of what our constituents were going through. So from October, December, we made the call not to do any extensive field work. Typically, we're out quite a bit. It could be weekly, every other week, going and checking on, but we felt like we really need to give our constituents time to even assess what's happened, to really take a look at what's going on and where they need to move forward. Additionally, we typically, on a monthly basis, send out failure to file notices. That's to people that have not reported their taxes. We also held that because we thought some people probably don't even have mail receptacles. Others are probably, that is not the first thing you want to see is a letter coming from the tax collector's office when you've had that. So we did hold those for up to 3 months. However, it's January now, and we need to get back out there. So we did get back out in the field starting the 1st of January. And mostly it's to find out, put our eyes on things, what's going on out there, and trying to make contact with those people that we haven't heard from. I can tell you from our travels out on the island, and I'm sure several of you know, there are still, establishments that are not up and running. However, we have found several situations where maybe the first floor is not inhabitable, but we have found renters on the second levels. So we know our short-term rental operators are trying to get back out there and get their income going and trying to get things reestablished. So as of right now, we have 8,645 active accounts in our system. We did have about 100 accounts that reached out to us between October and December to deactivate their account, meaning they're actively not able to rent. But in turn, we identified 200 new accounts that opened up throughout the county, maybe not out on our beaches, but throughout. So it's a very fluid number. So in a week, we might have, a little bit of a different number, but we still have SDRs coming online, even though we had, 100 come offline during that storm season. So that's kind of it on the collection front. I can tell you, I pulled up numbers this morning. I'll get to those in just a second, but let me jump over to the 6 pennies. So as you know, the voters voted on that in November, so I think that went really well, and that increase took effect on January 1st. So if you don't understand it, property owners have time to collect that money. Remember, the money's come in from the person staying. It's not paid by the property owner. It's paid by the person that's renting the property and coming in and staying. They have till the 20th of the following month. So we're always giving you numbers in the arrears. So property owners had until last Thursday to remit for the month of January. Now, we'll still be collecting this whole week, and you typically will get your report from us on Monday, March 3rd. But I went ahead and pulled up the numbers just so I could give you an idea today. Last year, for the month of January, we collected $2,646,000 and some change. As of this morning, we were at $2,400,000, so we're down about 9.31%. But I feel very strongly that that 6 penny has shrunk that gap. I think it would have been more if we hadn't had that 6 penny pass. Now, we still have some collections that can come in, so my hope is that I think we're still going to be down, but it's a much narrower window there than it maybe typically would have been if that 6 penny hadn't passed. Some of the steps we took, we did it very strategically when that 6 penny passed. I think it helped that the voters voted on it, right? It wasn't something that the council did or the board did, and then we're just kind of communicating that to the public. The public was part of the decision. So for our office, we made sure we had it all on our social media platforms. We did an email blast to all our property managers. We reached out to anyone and everyone. If you didn't have an email address, you got a hard copy letter from us. We reached out to our third-party platforms to make sure they updated their systems correctly. We worked with the property appraisers, the municipalities that have current registration programs. So we were very strategic in the way that we rolled out that information, and I think we only had one call of someone that didn't get it properly, and we got them up to speed pretty quickly. So we're all set as far as the collection piece, as far as getting that, and we're slowly getting back out in the field. We're slowly working with our property owners. I know, for example, last week we have a hotelier that's going through some struggles, but it's simply because they're waiting. They have a lot of FEMA workers in their hotel, right? So those monies coming in from FEMA. So those are some things that we're seeing on our end that, it's just gonna take time to get them back into play. But we have our feet back on the ground, and we're still being very careful with that. It's been hard. We've had some property owners that we've come upon that aren't necessarily pleased that we're there. We understand, but we got to keep moving forward, and we got to get back out there and try to make that work. So that's really all I had for you today. As I said, Elliot said you guys had a pretty packed agenda, and just to give you guys about 5 minutes. But if you have anything for me, I'm here. But that's kind of where we're at, and I'm hoping we can still pull in some monies this last week here. We still do have some accounts that we can see that have not paid yet, but I think we're going to be close. Okay.
Thank you very much, Michelle. And do we have any council members with questions? Mayor Brown?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You kind of brought up there at the end about some people might be a little bit mad that you're there doing some things. So as we've looked over the years, and I think it'd be good for our new board members and maybe even Madam Chair to hear kind of how we are going out, the traditional hotels, those things, are easy to say you've got to collect. But when you talk about the other avenues that are out there where people are coming in tourism and staying in some of the different type of product that's out there, and some of those products don't even know that they have to pay it or they need to pay it. Some of their platforms aren't telling them or not doing it. So what are we doing to make sure that we are researching that, whether it's in individual municipalities or will be in unincorporated as things go forward? I think it's a good thing to say, hey, everybody should be paying their fair share, and it wasn't a punishment to come up with a platform in the city of Bradenton per se.
Right.
It was more of a protect our neighborhoods.
Right.
And I think that's very important for people to know. But also, it's not going to close your business if you're doing that. But, we just got to pay our fair share. So can you give us what avenues you're taking in working with all the municipalities that are?
Sure. So for many of you, I know Commissioner Ballard's heard me speak about this before, and you have, Mayor Brown. But so we work with a company. They recently were taken over. they used to be LTS Technologies. The software is Hamari. So we have a third-party vendor that helps us. We have staff that goes out and researches, but they are specifically out there every day looking for properties that are coming online, doing short-term rentals in your single-family homes, right? Your single-family homes, individuals, and we get files weekly. We can go through those, and we're able to identify those. That's where those new 200 accounts in December came from. That's people that said, hey, I'm going to take advantage of this. You know, what can we do? Maybe we're helping some people out there and we want to open some rooms for renting. So we do use a third-party platform. The way it kind of works is if we identify you, we send you a notification, right? Because you are correct, Mayor. A lot of people don't understand it. Your property owner, the person coming in, you're getting those monies, but it's your responsibility to pay that to our office. And so we reach out to our customer. We do come more from an educational point. We don't come right out of the box and put a lien on your property. If you're behind, we work with you. You have payment plans we can get on you with. So it's mostly about education, because a lot of people feel that the third-party platforms are paying that portion of it. In Manatee County, that is not the case. We don't have any contracts with third-party platforms. So we have worked with our third parties to get that 6 penny out there. They do have our information there. But again, it's up to the property owner to understand it. But a lot of times when people think, oh, I just want to rent this out, they're not realizing they're kind of getting into that business world. They don't understand it. They don't realize they really need to have a license from the Department of Business and Professional Regulations. They don't really realize that they've got to make sure that they're squared away with the Department of Revenue. So there's so much more that goes into it when you decide to rent out, your property, or even a duplex or a condo, that we really try to educate our constituents on. It's not that we can monitor that. That's outside of our purview, but we do try to give them that information. So to your point, Mayor, when you guys set up your registration along with the City of Anna Maria, the great thing is that you connected with us to make sure that we have a certificate of registration that you can go out and print. So that's part of the requirement of those registration programs. The other thing that it really helps is understand, and I know a lot of people get kind of frustrated with this, is we are run by Florida statute that the information we collect is not, it's confidential. And the reason has to do more with the financial aspect of it, not so much that we don't want to share. So in the past, we've had fire districts reach out, we've had others reach out because they want that information for, to your point, those safety issues. So one of the things that those registration programs help with is identifying those where you have more purview to share information with your fire chiefs, with your code enforcement that can get out and help with some of that. So that is that connection there. But we're constantly using our software program to identify those that are coming online. And eventually, we do have resources. I mean, we eventually can get to a garnishment point. We can get to a point where we're going to put a lien. We have probably 14 liens out there right now. It's continual that we can put out there, and they're filed with the clerk of court if we have people that are habitually renting and not paying, and we've gotten a hold of them. It's not our first step. We go through a lot of steps before we get to that. So we are out there on the daily. Our field work, if you don't realize, I have a whole team of field deputies. They don't just go out for tourist tax. They also go out for delinquent tangible personal property taxes, which is taxes on a business. So we work in teams. We get out there, we do sweeps of areas, and we also make sure that, if someone's not home, they don't necessarily like us leaving our door hanger, but we've got to try to get a hold of you to get you set up in our system. So we're very passionate about what we do. We were super excited we made that $30 million, out of 67 counties. We feel like we're now in that elite group, so that's a testament to Elliot and all the work that he's been doing to promote us. And we have a very unique situation here. As you all know, we have a lot of STRs that are individual. Now that motels are really starting to pick up, and a lot of your monies are still coming in from unincorporated Manatee County. I think that was one of the things Elliot wanted to show you all, that when the storms came through, that I know there was kind of this panic, I think, that we were going to really, really drop off, but unincorporated Manatee County still pulls in a lot of those tourist tax revenue dollars. And yes, we're feeling that pinch because of the, hit out to your areas on the beaches, but those eventually recover. So I think the 6 pennies is definitely going to close the gap. But we are out there, we're in the field, we're educating, we use our software platform to identify those STRs that are not your hotels, your motels, your property managers, to try to really stay up onto it. And it can be challenging, but this team enjoys what we do, and we try to get out there. So I hope that answered your question and kind of gave you.
No, that answered it perfectly. And again, it was more about education. It's more about compliance, not punishment.
That's right.
And I think that's what the public needs to really realize. And then you did bring up about, with the fire districts and the different things where for safety, and unfortunately last year we did have a small child drowned at one of these houses. And maybe if they would have had a little bit better of a longer time, because we're working on it, that we know that at your house you have to have certain pool requirements. And, we don't want any of those tragedies when people are traveling. Right. And it's important to make sure that that's known. That's the reason that a lot of things, I'm not big government, I don't want to be big brother, but you have to protect and you have to make sure that, you're complying, but it's more about compliance than punishment. So
Correct.
I appreciate it, and that was a great 5-minute little dissertation on it to get it out there for us as well as the public. So thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. Does anybody else have any questions for Michelle?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, Michelle, you talked about the software program, Samari, is that the name of it?
Hamari.
Hamari, okay. Now, that basically just checks and see about advertisement, right?
No. So
Okay.
what that system does for us, it's a team of people that are actually out there scouring. We have over 86 short-term rental sites. So you guys think of the big ones, they're the big three, but they look at over 86 that are out there. So what they are doing is they are actually going out and finding files and duplicating those to our system to make sure they're not duplicates, but they're actually putting a file together. So when we go out and find them, we already have all of their ads in place.
Okay.
They actually show us, here are their room nights, here's their owner block calendar, here's their average stay, here are all their reviews, right? So we're getting them to do that harder work for us because we're still able to keep our staff to between 2 and 3 that are solely dedicated to tourist development tax. And so by the time we get that information, we actually have a whole case file. So when we send that letter, we're sending proof with it
Okay.
to say, we already show that you're advertising, this is it, now you need to call us, there's really no disputing it, you need to call and just explain it to us, right? And then we can get you set up and get you on the right track.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I had the privilege of meeting one of your deputies once, and she was a very professional person. She went through everything that we had laid out, and we found out that we were in the rears. We owed $5.26. And she was extremely thorough, let me say that. And you're talking millions.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you that.
Yeah, well, good, I'm glad, and we work really hard at that, and we will get you down to the penny, I'm sure, and because we do have in the same software company, we can use them for our auditing piece. We're actually gonna be looking to branch out in that a little bit more, because of time constraints. But we do try to be very thorough and get in with our hotels and property managers. But we found that over the last 2 years, a lot of our auditing is of the individual property owner. And the reason why is our hotels and our motels, they pretty much know what they're doing, right? And they have a lot of checks and balances. So we've really focused our auditing in the last 2 years on those individuals who don't even realize that they have to hold their documents for 3 years, right? By law, they have to hold their documents for 3 years, and most of them don't realize that. So as you said, it's compliance, it's education, it's a great opportunity for those, I feel, like you, it's your property, but there's gotta be a nice balance there.
Any other questions? All right.
All right,
Thank you,
so
Michelle.
much. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Good seeing you.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
Madam Chair, should we clap now that Tony's here?
I think so. Thank you, Tony. And let's let Tony introduce himself.
Yes. Good morning. I couldn't find my way to the office this morning on my first day on the job. I did read the location wrong, so I'm sorry. But my name's Tony DeRusso, minority owner and managing partner of the Marriott Palmetto Resort and Spa. Humbled to be here. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Tony. And I will also add that we have Commissioner Tal Sadiq sitting in the audience. He is our alternate county commission member. And so now we can move on to our update from SRQ with Mark Stuckey.
All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
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 Let's see, click on here. You gotta have the mouse. Thank you. Thought it was touch screen. All right, presentation. There we go. All right. Looks like we got a number of new council members, so I'm glad I made it out today. My name's Mark Stuckey. I'm the Executive Vice President, Chief of Staff for the Sarasota-Bradenton International Airport. I've been there a little over 30 years, so I know of a lot of you. I've been working with a lot of you for a long time, and I wanted to give a quick update on some of the things that we've accomplished at the airport over the last few months and what we have coming up. I kept this short because I was just here not too long ago. I think it was the last meeting or a couple of meetings ago, so I want to go through that. So I think most of you know of our airline destination and growth that we've had over the last, since 2018. So since 2018, we've added 6 new airlines and 56 new non-stop destinations, which has made us the fastest growing airport in Florida and also the fastest growing airport in the United States when you compare the top 100 airports by percentage growth. This is where we were in 2018. We had 6 airlines and 12 nonstop destinations. And that was right before Allegiant started service. And today, as of February of 2025, we have 11 airlines and 68 nonstop destinations. So we've added quite a few flights. Calendar year passenger traffic. So last year we did see a reduction in service. Primarily that was caused by the storm damage that we received to the terminal concourse roof, which got blown off. So when that happened, we ended up having to remain closed for a little over a week, and we lost over 100,000 seats and 600 flights in just 1 week. But in addition to that, we saw some of our carriers pull back service for the remainder of the year. Southwest was down 33%, and that really impacted us. So for the calendar year, we ended down 1.77%. From 4.3 million in 2023 to 4.2 million in 2024. And then for this calendar year, we think we're going to hit somewhere around 4.5 million. So we're seeing pretty rapid recovery. We knew that January was going to be down. So last month we saw a 6.9% decrease in traffic. But for February, we have 5% more seats scheduled into and out of our market. And for March through, as far out as I can see reasonably, through June, July, August, we're seeing anywhere between 10 and 15% increase over last year in number of seats scheduled into and out of our market. So we expect to have a really quick rebound, record-breaking numbers for the month of March, which will be probably our highest passenger numbers in the history of the airport, and same for April and every month beyond that. So we continue to see a lot of growth. Last year, we announced 10 new nonstop destinations between Allegiant and Breeze and Frontier and American, which is a lot, that's a lot of new destinations in 1 year. And we followed that up with 2025 this year with 10 more new nonstop routes beginning. A lot of that can be attributed to the new Concourse A that we just opened. We had the ribbon cutting on January 14th. And started service on the 15th, and that was with Allegiant's going to be operating primarily from that new terminal. They typically will base 3 aircraft at our airport, but with the new terminal opening, we now are up to 5 based aircraft, with Allegiant serving 35 nonstop destinations out of our airport. So they are close to being our #1 carrier. It depends on the month. So for February, they're our #1 carrier, or January, they were our #1 carrier. February, they should be. And March, it looks like Southwest starts to add a little bit more service and becomes our #1, but then by April, Allegiant. So it's kind of back and forth between Allegiant and Southwest Airlines as our top carriers. So this was our ribbon cutting we had last month. I got a nice picture there. You've Elliot right there in the middle cutting the ribbon, so I thought you'd be happy with that. This was our group of, we did have the TDC folks there. But I took this one. This was with our CVBs, our chambers, and our Economic Development Corporation folks in front of the big glass window that you can see the 2 Allegiant aircraft behind them. This is the new, we call the 5-gate terminal. It has the ability to expand to 6 gates, which I think will be at 6 gates by next year. We just have to get a little additional work done on that at the end of the terminal to get the 6th one operational. But right now, Allegiant started basing shows the 4 planes that were there on the day we did the ribbon cutting, and then they added a 5th based aircraft on February 10th. And the based aircraft means it starts its day at the airport and it ends its day at the airport. All the Allegiant pilots and flight attendants, they live locally in the area, which is great. So you have all your pilots, flight attendants starting their day here, and they end their day here. Overnight, they're doing. We have over 50 mechanics that operate out of the airport. They do the maintenance on the aircraft at night. So having a based operation like Allegiant offers is really, really good for the community. So this is a few pictures of for those of you that may have not made it out, the new curbside area was extended, so we have a lot more drop-off area. We have a second screening checkpoint now, which is very good. It helps alleviate all the pressure that was on the Concourse B checkpoint. These are some pictures of the ground boarding or Concourse A terminal. And nice, beautiful waiting areas and new bathrooms. We have 3 eateries, a couple local ones. Anna Marie Oyster Bar is in there, and then Patrick's 1481, which is a Sarasota restaurant. And then we have the Sarasota To Go with Pete's Coffee down there. So 3 new concessions. I think some of you know we're adding 17 new concessions at our airport right now that are under construction. These are the first 3 that opened. The other 14 will be opening over the next 9 months, staggered. We continue to have unique airline partnerships. This is a project that really was actually brainstormed by Elliott back in 2018, but it was with a different airline. Him and his staff had come up with the idea of branding an aircraft with just Bradenton on it. It had the sun and everything, and it was on an Elite Airways aircraft, if you remember. And unfortunately, Elite was one of those carriers that went bankrupt and is no longer with us at our airport. But we carried that idea forward, and it was about a year and 2 or 3 months ago. We were having dinner with some VIPs from Allegiant here locally, and I was with Elliott and Aaron, his counterpart from Visit Sarasota County, and we brought up the idea with Allegiant about branding their aircraft with the local Bradenton, Sarasota area. Of course, they were a little hesitant. You know, if you look out, when I look out my window, the airlines that you see out there with branding they all have like Los Angeles Raiders or the Boston Red Sox, or you might see Pixar with their movie or SeaWorld with Shamu, and it's like, okay, how are we going to get Sarasota Bradenton on the back of one of these planes? Because they're used to working with these multi-million or billion-dollar companies. But the relationships we formed with Allegiant over the years, and Elliott's travels with me a lot to visit these airlines, I think we have probably the best relationship with airline folks, and that's the only way we're able to pull this off, to get our local branding on there. And we talked with everyone all the way up to the founder, Maury Gallagher, and on down about this project, and we got their buy-in, and they let us do it. So when we opened the new terminal in January, we had the unveiling of the aircraft, and you can see both the beautiful wrap that's put on there showcasing Bradenton, Anna Marie Island, and Longboat Key, and then Sarasota and their beaches as well, and the nautical theme that they use. And I think it's amazing. I see the airplane parked every day outside my window because it's a based aircraft here. And I love it when it flies up north. If you can, this is one of the pictures they sent back to me.
Oh, I love that so much.
I said, this is absolutely the best marketing campaign I think your CVB has ever done. I've got my bias because I work at the airport, but really, really amazing, and I can't believe we pulled this off. So it was a team effort, and thanks to the TDC for allowing tourist tax money to do this marketing campaign. It's really, really amazing. We have unique government partnerships. This is just the last item I want to showcase. This is our observation area that we're going to be opening. Right now we have a tentative ribbon cutting date for March 12th, so just a few weeks away. This is a $2 million project that we're partnering with Manatee County on 50/50. It's along 15th Street East, just as you come into Manatee County. So it's going to be a really showcased facility. The parking's actually a little more expanded than this because we did change it around a little bit to add more parking. But it has a playground, a covered area. It's going to have a history display, of history of aviation, with a lot of it themed on Manatee County. And then also we're going to have speakers out there where you can listen to the air traffic control tower talking to the aircraft. And it's going to have water fountains and light. And oh, the playground, interesting enough, where when we did this project, it was going to be $2 million, and we knew we couldn't go over it. So one of our commissioners wanted a playground in there, and we said, "Oh, that's great, but how much is it?" And it ended up being $175,000, and we're like, "Well, how are we gonna pull this off?" So Elliot and I met with Allegiant, our partners again, and we were able to convince them to and sold them the naming rights to one of the theme of the playground is airport. So it's got an air traffic control tower with slides coming out of it, and it's got an airplane that's there as well. And so they're going to buy the naming rights for $175,000 for the aircraft and brand it with the Allegiant airplane. And so we were able to get the playground added, which was really cool. So that's a really neat project. We started this with Manatee County in 2013, and of course with everything, it's funding. You know, how can we get the agreement in place and the funding and everything, and we were able to pull it off. So that's an exciting project that we're going to showcase next month when we do the ribbon cutting, as long as we can get FPL to get the power out there. So I said, let's wait this week to make the final ribbon cutting date, and but March 12th was what we're shooting for. So that's just a few of the projects. I could stand up here and speak forever because we have a lot of projects going on right now. We've got a new inline bag system that's coming online in the next couple of weeks. We've got, we're working on a parking garage that we're going to be starting design on. We've got a new ground transportation project that's opening April 1st, which will be really, really nice. It incorporates the bus system and all of the taxis, limos, shuttles, Uber, Lyfts, pickup, and everything else. A lot of improvements at the airport. I think next time you fly out of there, you're going to really like it. It was really tough for a while because our growth was so rapid when we almost quadrupled the number of passengers, going from 1.2 million to 4.3 million. It made it really hard. I mean, we didn't have enough fuel. We didn't have a big enough checkpoint. We didn't have enough escalators to get people up. All those problems have been resolved. We got the new concourse. We got space. There's room. If you come and you're flying out, you're probably not going to have more than a 10-minute wait at the most if you're in the regular checkpoint line. If you have TSA pre-check, you're probably only going to be like 1 or 2 minutes. So it's nice to see that we've got all these issues resolved. We do have to resolve some of the parking issues. Our long-term does fill up almost on a weekly basis, depending on what day it is. And we have plenty of parking. It's just that we have to divert people to another lot and sometimes even shuttle them, which is not what I want. So we're working on the parking problem. We just did a presentation with our board, but it's going to take a little while to get that resolved and make sure we have the funding, because we're one of the few debt-free airports in the United States. We want to try to keep either debt-free or have just measured amount of debt if we do go into debt, to make sure that we can keep our rates and charges low, because we have to be competitive in the industry. We're competing against other airports around us, including Tampa, Fort Myers, St. Pete, Punta Gorda. So if we can keep our rates the lowest, which we do compared to Tampa and Fort Myers, we're probably close to half their price, then that's going to drive more air service and get more flights and destinations, which is what we need for our community. That's all I have. If you have any questions.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mark. Elliot?
Just real quick, just for the sake of knowledge, the observation deck we did not use tourism tax proceeds for. I don't think it would have been an eligible use. So the county used TIF money for that, which was a good use. You got to remember, we want nothing more to have that visitor make a right turn on Tamiami Trail, and that first impression is really, really good. And right now, it's not so good. But we've been working with a lot of the government officials, Commissioner Ron, obviously that being his district. John Osborne's been contracted with Foley Bryant on streetscape and all that. So we're pushing hard to keep that kind of a high priority. And the observation deck, well, but Jiten, it's right out. You can see it from your hotel windows. It's really, really important. Gosh, Mayor Braun, you've lived here your whole life. That's a really popular spot, and it's going to get a lot better. Number two, all that growth of new nonstop flights, think about it. Y'all were good to us. You gave us about another $500,000 to put brand equity into immature markets. And that's Colby and Day's job. But we needed a little bit more enhancement of our communication between us and the marketing departments of airlines. You got to remember, those are the lean divisions in airlines, is the marketing department. So we shifted some responsibility to Mackenzie Prosson, who you've all met, and Mackenzie works for Kelly. So there's constant communication going on between us and the airline marketing departments, because we have incentive dollars that we're giving them. So you got to push. You can't assume that a brand new market will just organically fill those seats. Okay, so very, very important, because obviously we want to maintain those new markets and continue to moderately grow. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Mark, I will say, I mentioned this to you this morning. I am so excited about some of these new nonstop routes. I grew up in upstate South Carolina, and so that direct flight to Greenville, my kids will be very happy to get up there and see their grandparents more easily. And also that wrap in the snow was just the coolest thing. Does anybody else have any questions? Dan?
Yeah, Mark, I think you and I talked maybe a couple months ago about extending the runway there. I think I know we have a railroad on one end and we have US 41 on the other end, but I think if you really pursue it and extend the runway, my background is commercial aviation, by the way, if you extend the runway another 2,000 feet, that's going to open up the entire western United States to this market. Okay. So I really think you ought to give some serious consideration to doing that. I mean, the railroad can go underneath. That's been done other airports around the world. So
Yeah, I think the railroad might be the easier direction to go.
Right.
But some of our carriers have told us that they can use the 9,500 feet
Okay.
and make it to the West Coast, no problem. I mean,
Okay.
we've had large aircraft fly nonstop from our airport to Johannesburg, so South Africa nonstop, and
Okay.
so it can be done. And we'll look at that. We can talk.
yeah, they probably limited the passengers on board or something like that. So
Yeah.
777 or something like that. Yep. All right. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate that.
I
I
guess,
just want to thank Jiten. I'm sorry, I
Sorry, go
forgot to thank you so much for housing the VIPs and helping us out with getting them
We
settled.
loved
The Hilton Doubletree Hotel across from our airport is really one of the most amazing airports. I know most of you have been in there with the atrium in the middle. It's absolutely fantastic. We recommend it to anybody that's coming, and thank you.
Thank
I've reached out to Jiten. He helped us house a number of Allegiant folks that came in for this ribbon cutting, and thank you.
no, we love them, you
Yes.
know. We have absolutely enjoyed it, like, definitely, you know, always there. Now, adding on to Dan's question, like, we had Air Force One stop by multiple times in the past. So why the runway is short if we can have Air Force One land there?
Yeah, Air Force was a unique airplane, so that's,
Well-
yeah, I wouldn't.
Okay,
Wouldn't use
so,
that.
no, but that's what I remember, that, you know, I have seen that from my
Yeah.
hotel.
Yeah, that airplane can land at a lot of places other airplanes can't. But the problem is takeoff. Takeoff and
Takeoff, you need a longer.
the distance they go is a function of how much fuel they have on board, and the fuel is weight. So in order to
That
accelerate
drag, that creates a
to a
drag.
liftoff speed, you have to have enough runway to accelerate stop. And I just think if you added 2,000 more feet, it would really open up the markets a lot. But I know that costs money, and then there's safety studies and all that, and we're talking years down the road.
Been a while since we were at 7,000. We extended to 9,500, and that's made a huge difference. But there is a lot that goes in with that, and there's an impact on the DRI, and you got to
Yep.
do all these
You do.
studies, and it changes the noise contours and impacts different communities and things like that. I think our runway is long enough to reach the West Coast with any of the carriers that we have. We actually been in discussion with a number of our carriers on some West Coast routes that we think will come to fruition in the next year or two. We could probably make them happen even faster. It's just when you're adding 10 flights a year, you know, there's only so much money to go around. So we're trying to grow at a measured pace. But that could be the next year. I think we've got our hands full right now with the growth we have. And then maybe next year we can look. But there's some big markets, your Los Angeles, your Phoenix, your Las Vegas, your San Francisco. I mean, these are all markets that we've been looking at, talking to airlines with. They know, we can see through Department of Transportation data that's collected how many people are traveling on a daily basis. So we have all that data at our fingertips, and we can see that there's people traveling between these markets and how many per day. So they know as well, and we'll get to that, and we'll get that West Coast flight. I would say within the next few years for sure.
Good.
And I'll close at this. The West Coast nonstops, I got the media in the room here too. We don't want to shock in all the residents thinking, oh my gosh, no, we got California people coming to Anna Maria Island. It's a long road to hoe. As Mark can tell you, airlines are lean, they consolidate. Network planners battle for nonstop flights. There's only so much equipment, so many crews. But you know what? It's you look at the business growth going from a California nonstop, and it's something that would probably take a little bit of time. And when it starts, slow growth. So lot of work. You almost have to invest a little bit more uniquely compared to a Northeast or a Midwest, because it's something totally new. Because we have no brand awareness in the state of California, zero. So that in itself, you got to start planting some seeds. So love the enthusiasm. We're in a really unique situation on our growth. It does take a team. It does take a region. It does take government support, and we got all of that. And people like Mark and I, we all know you all trust us. When you trust us that much, we don't want to let you down. You know, so it makes us want to work even harder. So when we trip, it's a minor trip. So in any event, Mark, thanks for the presentation. Fun stuff.
Mayor?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm going to say it after Elliot talked and Mark, you talked. Probably two of the most humble guys in the room, and you deserve a lot of credit in it, because when you hear something about, debt-free and things that you go through and still growing, and number one in a lot of areas that really are important to our community, and being a lifelong resident that had to drive to Tampa numerous times to get anywhere. And we talk about traffic. Well, we're able to now go from Sarasota, Bradenton Airport, and I think, 50, 60 years ago it needed to say Braden and Sarasota, but it didn't work out the way it was. But just congratulations, and I know your leadership and then also your board has done such a great job of making sure we stayed debt-free, but we grew correctly, and that's important for our region. I only have one comment, being from Bradenton, or request maybe, is I know they can load from both sides of the plane, right? So a lot of times, we'd like them to load from the left side of that plane. So when people are taking pictures, they're taking pictures with Bradenton in the background, because I've seen a lot on Facebook with Sarasota, because they're loading from the right side. I know.
From the left. So,
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
Elliot was very strategic.
Stop right there. Stop right there.
We want them to load from that side. I've only seen the Sarasota side. But no, we like our neighbors to the south, so, maybe 1 week and switch it back and forth. But no, it's a great thing. But congratulations to you, obviously your boss, and then your board for what they've done for our community.
Our CEO, Rick Pickle, who'll be retiring in June of this year. I've worked with him his entire career at our airport. He's been CEO. He's on his 30th year, so I've been lucky enough to work with him all 30 years. So he's done an amazing job. Our board, which is made of 3 members from Manatee County and 3 from Sarasota, are appointed by the governor, and so they're all very professional individuals who are successful business people in the community. And it's made our job easy because they understand business, and that's what we focus on. We want to make sure that you don't have to drive to Tampa. I don't ever want to drive to Tampa if I don't have to. There's every once in a while you may, if it's an international flight of some sort, but if you're flying domestically, you should be able to get out of our airport with a price very similar or maybe less than Tampa.
It was actually, we're flying next month up to Greenville, so it was less money from there than from Tampa. So
Yep, that's great to hear.
Yeah, that Greenville market, it was a great choice. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, and now we're going to move on to a marketing and communication update from Colby Yason.
Madam Chair, while Colby's loading that up, just give a little framework here. Every once in a while, because if you look at the last decade, give or take, the historic visitation data, visitation continues to grow, and we'll get people in the community say, well, why do you need to market anymore? You know, they're coming, they know where Bradenton is, they know where Anna Maria Island is. And my consistent response is to prepare for the next adversarial occurrence. So always remember that you have really strong brand elements in the marketplace that is competing against our competitive set. And when times are tough, that brand hopefully will win. And you look at from 2017 severe red tide to 2020 COVID, we weathered those tough adversarial times. This in itself will show you, and you got a little bit of intel from the tax collector, that it could have been a lot worse. So a lot of, and then I'll close at this and let Colby do her presentation. Always remember, marketing is very artistic with a little bit of science. So if we're all marketing people, we all, almost like an attorney, right? Each attorney has their own opinions. Every marketing person has his or her own opinion. So that's why we take Colby and Day and Kelly and we empower them and hold them accountable, and they've done a great job. So with that, good morning, Ms. Colby.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. Can everyone hear me all right? Wonderful. First, I want to say I actually live in the flight path of SRQ, and I have the tail wing number of our plane, and I love to stand and track it and jump up and down and say, oh my God, that's our airplane, like a crazy loon. I try to get all my neighbors outside too, and they're like, she's just nuts. So, but it's always an exciting day when I get to see our hard work in action. And I just want to shout out, everything I'm going to show you would not at all be possible without the strong team I have working with me, Keenan, Day, Emily, Kelly and her team. It's a joint effort to make all of this possible. So first I want to start off by saying we're accredited. We've been accredited for quite some time, and with that accreditation means we are the subject matter experts in what we do. That enables us to put our best foot forward during blue skies and gray skies. And we always hope not for gray skies, but when gray skies come around, we need to be ready for it. So I'll tell you, we have a crisis communications plan. We dust it off every year. We, after every crisis, sit around a table. We say what worked, what didn't, and we update it. It is evergreen. I will tell you, majority of destinations in the United States do not have an active crisis communication plan. They don't. It is absolutely necessary. Whether you're a Florida destination, you're in New York City, you're in California, you need to be prepared for best or worst case scenarios. And when you're prepared for the best or the worst, you're able to make fast actions, quick decisions, and you're in a position to recover faster. So, hurricanes, right? We can count on that being a crisis we experience every year. And crises can come in all kinds of different forms and fashions. And we've been through a pandemic, which nobody saw coming. They could be economic crises. Natural disasters, I think, are tried and true living in Florida. We know that there's always a strong chance of them coming. We know how to be prepared for them. So we have a pre, during, and post part of our crisis communication plan. So what usually changes the most is the post, because every storm is going to be different. And what we learned this past year, unfortunately, is that this was the worst case scenario. These storms left us with a wake of damage we had not seen before. It left our barrier islands with devastation we had never experienced. We were used to our industry partners having some flooding, but able to recover within 4 to 8 hours and reopen. We had that pretty down pat. But we were left in a situation where we were looking at a longer recovery than we were used to. And my team sat down and we said, okay, what are the 3 things we really need to focus on? And it's kind of like eating an elephant, right? You got to eat it one bite at a time. And the 3 big bites we really needed to conquer were perception, messaging, and how were we going to work at recovering the visitation that we had lost. Now, in a way, we were kind of fortunate because the storms hit in September, which is already our lowest of low visitation seasons. But at the same time, we're getting back into our fall season and we lost a lot of our inventory. And we know that for a fact because we were helping Holmes Beach with a lot of interceptions from people who were calling and wanting to check in on their vacation rentals. And that honestly gave us a really good perception, especially from a communication side, of knowing where people were at, what their major concerns were, and we were kind of able to mitigate that. And we were also able to mitigate that from an industry partner side as well. We're communicating to 2 different audiences during a crisis, right? We're talking to our industry partners, but we're also talking to our visitors. And both are equally as important because that's who we represent as destination professionals. Sticky jar. So through our crisis action plan, we knew we needed to take back our messaging. So who comes to town during a big storm? Yes, he does. But we got Anderson Cooper. We'll talk about him in a minute. Big media comes to town. They are in the thick of the storms. They get national attention. The storm's over. They leave, and they leave a wake of media. And it's our mess to clean up. So we really needed to figure out what messaging they had left, where that stood for us, and how to take back that messaging. Also, there's strong visuals that are left within our community. We'll get into that perception. We needed to really work hard to show real time through transparent communication what the destination looked like to our visitors. We also really needed to reassure our visitors. People love Anna Maria Island. We have a 94% return rate of first-time visitors. Why is that? They love the character and the integrity of the island. What we were seeing is people were very concerned that the integrity of the island had been destroyed. We needed to show them that the integrity of the island stood and that it was intact. So we were going to also do that through strong social media messaging and really showing boots on the ground real time what that recovery was looking like through our industry partners, getting out to these businesses and just showing our industry partners, speaking for them. Everybody has different means, different resources, and also showing those people, our visitors, that, hey, we're still here. We were not wiped off the mat, as Anderson Cooper liked to try to show. So this is through one of our third-party resources. It shows booking percentage year over year. I think we can all see when the hurricanes hit, right? This is showing kind of our inventory and our bookings. Mass cancellations in the storm. Everybody was unavailable on the islands. You can kind of see that little blip right after post-storm. That's common, right? We start to see everybody come in post-storms. We saw a lot of people start to cancel. They weren't sure whether to keep for Thanksgiving. It was about a 50-50, but we did start to see a little bit of a climb back up with some inventory being back open on the island. I will commend our accommodation partners if they could be open and offer a good experience to visitors. They absolutely did so and tried. And some people were willing to take the risk and still keep their visitation. We did see a continued bit of a dip, but then you can start to see the recovery start to happen. Now, we are really starting to see things get truly back to normal probably in April. And we'll get into how we're really working to get in front of different kinds of customers, because we saw a lot of people immediately say, oh, I'm canceling my vacation for April. No, don't do that. Give us a chance. So that again gets into our communication efforts on perception and messaging. So real quick, want to show you a quick video because what we do would not be possible without the efforts of Manatee County. Manatee County worked literally tirelessly to restore our beaches. What Charlie Hensiger and his team was able to do by recycling our sand is a story that no one has done on this coast of Florida, or at least that I am aware of. And they deserve all the praise and allotment that we can give them, because that's our coastline, that's our crown jewel. During blue skies, they rake it, they keep it pristine, and they saw the need to do it and restore it for our visitors. So this is just a quick video that the county put together that really applauds those efforts. Oh my God. Sorry.
My name is David Shermer. I'm the Parks and Grounds Operations Manager for Manatee County. Today we are here at Coquina Beach, where we've had a monumental effort to recover from these past few storms. We had 3 to 5 feet of sand covering every inch of the beach, parking lots that we had to dig out of. We've got all the debris cleaned up. We got all the south end sand cleaned up, and we're working north. So that means starting this weekend, we're able to open this south end so the public can come out here and enjoy our beautiful beaches again.
So we're super excited. The lifeguards have been waiting for this. This is what they do every day. They've been waiting for these beaches and so they can start occupying the towers. And it's been a lot of hard work. We're excited for it to open back up the south end. There's still more work to be done on the north.
Apparently that's it. That's all the video wants to show you today. So just for the sake of time, we'll keep moving. But truly, I've worked for another destination. It wasn't a beach destination, but it's not every day where you really see the synergy between a tourist office and the county when it's connected to a government entity. So we are very blessed within Manatee County for the understanding and the partnership that we have here. And seeing that in action in a gray skies time is truly phenomenal, and we're fortunate to have that partnership. So let's get into perception. An image is worth 1,000 words, right? So these are two prominent images that really gave our visitors a perception of the state of the island and gave us a clear understanding of kind of where we were starting at from ground zero. This yellow house was on its pillars after Helene. Milton came through and knocked it off. Still to this day, it is out on the beach and people love to take pictures of it. Meanwhile, we all know if you go out to the beach, you can see blue skies, beautiful beaches, activity, things are gorgeous out there, but this one house is kind of one image that kind of continues to perpetuate a negative image of destruction. Then you have a landmark that also is no longer in existence. Again, it was standing after Helene. Milton came through and kind of finished the job, unfortunately. And people, again, that is something that has an emotional connection to visitors. So when they see that it's gone, they associate that with the state and the entirety of the destination. And then this guy. This guy, Anderson Cooper, came and stood on Riverwalk. Yep, and he gave a geographical locator. He said, I am standing in Bradenton, Florida, on Riverwalk, next to the Manatee River. And we all know what happened next. He got pelted in the face with debris.
While he was waiting to do an interview with me, because we were forcing it, because he was doing interviews with everybody else. They didn't want to do an interview because I was going to promote it, but he happened to get hit in the head, and they said, well, you got to wait another 30 minutes. I said, no, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. We appreciate that. It went viral. It went viral. Not something you want to go viral and associated with your destination. It went so viral that they actually used it in their promo for his and Anderson Cooper, or him and Andy Cohen's New Year's Eve live show that they did.
Which again was one of the lowest rated shows, so we can only take a little bit out of that for the low ratings that they get.
Well, that's the damn view on it.
Right, yeah. So, no, I literally, we were waiting and they kept pushing me off, and I said, he needs to be talking to the mayor of Bradenton, not to Tampa people and all of that when he's standing on our Riverwalk. And it was very frustrating at the moment because, you know, he was bashing us without getting the true picture of what we could be in the life-saving events that we were doing and protecting our community as a whole through our EOC with the county and then our PSOC for the city of Bradenton. And that was important. I'm sorry to jump in on you. So.
Oh, no, Mary, you're helping me out quite a bit. Thank you so much. So, with that, with the misperceptions of imagery and with those viral moments, this is a word cloud that we pulled from our media monitoring service, Muck Rack, and these are all words that were trending in news articles, news coverage associated with the Bradenton area, Anna Maria Island, directly after the storms. The bigger the words, the higher they were seen in news articles. So you can see Helene DeSantis, he did 2 press conferences here. One, thankfully, actually was for an executive order where he pushed for Gulf Drive to get cleaned up within a week, which was actually great. Damage, scary, big. There's a lot of big, scary words here. But you know what's really good about this? It knows where we're starting from. We know what we're up against. And this is where these resources really help us know kind of, again, what the elephant looks like and how we're going to start to kind of take it piece by piece. So I talked about perception and how we knew we needed to show real-time transparency to our visitation of what the island looked like. So we worked with Jeremy Piper, who has a year-round contract with us. He's our in-house videographer, photographer. He's also local, and he had taken on some damage himself, so we wanted to be mindful of him. So we also contracted with another local videography company so we could have somebody out there constantly getting aerial drone video weekly of the island that we could timestamp, date, and put out there. It did not have to be pretty, but we wanted to show this is our recovery, this is what the island looks like, and what we were able to show is the water got bluer, the sand got whiter. Yes, there may have been some trucks on the beach, but it showed that we were in an active state of recovery. We were putting the pieces back together, and this is kind of a roundup. You'll see it's dated November 1st, so this is about a month out from the storms. You know, video always works when you do it, and then it never works when you need it to, right? Okay. Don't do this to me. There. You know what? We're just gonna let it play like that. Whatever makes it happy. So from there, we would send people back to our recovery page where they could get more up-to-date information. We had a map that showed all of the businesses that were reopening on the island. Again, real-time transparency. I'm a firm believer in a crisis. You want to be as transparent with your public as possible, and that also comes from my accreditation in public relations that I have to renew every 3 years. So again, that leads to us being the subject matter experts. Huge shout out to Emily Knight, our social media and website manager, for staying on top of this. She actually put that video together. So we also worked immediately with social media influencers, both regionally and in the Tampa Bay area, in Sarasota, to get them in market as soon as possible. Again, boots on the ground to show what businesses were open, to show the integrity of the island, and again, to show people that the authenticity, Anna Maria Island, the same experience can be had on vacation when you come back. So when you're ready to come back, we're ready to welcome you, and these businesses are very ready and welcoming to have you back when the time is ready. So these videos got thousands of views. You can already see thousands of likes. I'm talking, there's, for the one on the right, 75,000 views just recently, about 50 for the one on the left, and that is probably about 10 that we've hosted so far. Next, we're gonna start hosting from people within our target fly markets to start working on that strategy as well. So how we utilize the power of social media, we were able to host influencers to show real-time businesses that were open and that, yes, in fact, the island integrity was still intact. We also were able to monitor conversations in different kinds of chat groups to see what the perception of the island was. There was a lot of misperception from people being spread, a lot of people just talking kind of negatively. We were able to push them to our account as the subject matter experts, and we've actually seen significant growth, which is great. We want to be the subject matter experts when it comes to tourism in the destination. And then through drone video, we were able to show real time what the state of the island was. So through paid media opportunities, we were also able to get in front of our primary targets to show real time again what the island was like. So we partnered with New Day Cleveland. Cleveland is a huge market for us, and also helped that the weather was starting to get very cold. If anybody knows, the weather has been terrible, absolutely horrible winter, which I guess is good for us right now in a state of recovery when all of our primary and emerging Midwestern markets are seeing negatives, single-digit markets. So we partnered with New Day Cleveland. We got their legacy anchor down here who did an hour-long segment in market going out to the island talking to local businesses. It was sunshiny, it was bright. He also went to downtown Bradenton. He did a cooking segment at Arte Cafe as well as visiting some other local businesses. But again, the whole point was to show real time. We also did additional edits for 4 additional markets like Indianapolis, New Haven, and some additional cuts as well. So, this is what our word cloud looks like today. Not so scary. Look at the words that are big now. Anna, Maria, Island, Bradenton. We're starting to see our hard work paying off through our efforts of bringing in journalists, through the efforts of bringing in influencers. We're starting to see the conversation shift from post-crisis negative to positive post-recovery. And honestly, we're not even using the word recovery anymore. We honestly feel like we're past that. And I'll be quite frank, we had a hard time keeping up with the recovery of the island because the industry partners worked so hard and so fast to get back open. They outpaced our expectations, which was fantastic. We're like, okay, they're probably about 2 weeks ahead of where we thought we would be. So we were kind of racing to keep up with them, which was kind of a best case scenario. So from a public relations standpoint, we took some risks. We brought journalists in probably a little sooner than we should have. The island wasn't pretty. Again, there was active recovery happening. But we brought in people who were friends of the island. We brought in journalists who had been here before, people who loved the destination, people who were local, like from Orlando, Tampa, but they also had connections to national publications, but they also had a close affiliation for it. So they were going to be able to look at the recovery, see what was happening, and be able to authentically write about it and see where we were working to be. And that really paid off for us. We had placements in Southern Living. We have an upcoming journalist coming in for Food and Wine magazine. We've also hosted for some micro publications in some of our target markets. For Minnesota, which is a huge, again, terrible winter. I was just there, -2. No, thank you. Couldn't get back here fast enough. And then some additional results. Great listicles. We had a local influence reporter who lives in Sarasota. She was actually the first one in, and she just wrote an article that was then reposted in USA Today, which has had multiple millions of views. So it's been a really great payoff for the risk that we were able to take. We actually even just got a feature in Nat Geo, which was really fantastic. We also did some regional partnerships. So we partnered with Visit Sarasota. We share a lot of the same markets. I think it's easy to say that when you're so close, you share an airport, you're gonna naturally have some overlap in some of your target markets, and we did. So Elliot had the great idea, working with Aaron, why don't we combine some of our efforts and resources and get ahead in some of our primary markets or joint primary markets and get the messaging out there that as a region, we're okay. And that's what we did. We both kind of tackled it in some mixed media, digital, radio, joint efforts, and we sent them back to this landing page that was housed on our website, and we saw some great success with it. We were also able to partner with Visit Florida. They basically said, here's money, do what you want with it. And we said, great, we will do that. So we decided to put that money towards a buy with Condé Nast. They are our target audience. They are affluent, travel-intended readers looking to consume information about destinations just like ours. And we have done buys with them in the past, and they have performed really well. So we already knew that we were setting ourselves up for success. So a little bit about the buy, it's a little bit of social, digital, Google display, and there actually is some editorial. We had a meeting with one of their senior editors back in December, right after the storm. She has family in Sarasota, so she stopped here for a desk side, and that actually helped get an additional editorial with this buy. So these meetings go a really long way. There's not always immediate return, but you play the long game in PR, and it inevitably pays off. So Elliot was kind enough to give us an additional pot of money just for recovery, and that's what we did. In addition to our normal marketing budget, which Day and I are now executing, we spent a whole different pot of money for immediate marketing as it related to the storm. And we wanted to really diversify that. So we spent money on social media hosting. We did some mixed media, which can be anything from native, which looks like it's an article, digital, direct. We wanted to get in front of people as fast as possible instead of having a big, long marketing funnel to walk people through. We needed to get in front of them. We already knew that people were planning on rescheduling and probably trying a different destination, so we wanted to go after people who were travel intended and maybe looking for a new destination. This was what that money was used for and who we wanted to go after. And then we also used it for paid media as well, so like New Day Cleveland, some Odyssey. We hosted some radio influencers as well. And overall, I think that's done a really great job of helping us get in front of those target markets, helping us get the messaging out there, which we've seen has changed in a positive way. And now we continue to execute very aggressively our regular programming post-storms. So with that, I threw a lot at you. Any questions? Thank you for hanging in there, and thank you for the color commentary, Mayor Brown. I appreciate it.
That's a great update, Colby. Thank you so much. Elliot?
Thank you. Colby's nice to me. I didn't give her any money. The TDC and the Board of County Commissioners allocates money. Real quick, go back in time. My predecessor, Larry White, I think Chit 10 knew him. He had the idea of let's create a line item of $1 million for emergency management. This is the second time in my career that we've used it. Remember, the quick evaluation is we have beaches, we have bridges, let's get on the partnerships, let's trust the brand, and let's look at the optics in our primary and secondary markets. The optics in primary and secondary post-storm was not consistent with the reality. Hence, take $500,000 at the stroke of a county administrator's pen, and then the Board of County Commissioners just do a budget amendment, and we're off and running. Because you got to turn that negative into a positive, and the accreditation is it's supposed to mean we're supposed to understand best practices doing what we do. Do we get it right all the time? No, but we should get it right. The only thing that we're going to continue to focus on, which I think we were probably, Elliott was a little bit late out of the gate, is Colby mentioned it, crisis management plan. We have a library of different types, from red tide to oil spills to hurricanes to tornadoes. And every time you think you have something off the shelf for an adverse situation, something new comes at you. And then it's tweaked after every adverse situation. But where we were a little bit late out of the gate, and we should have gotten it, Elliott should have gotten it pre-storm, was educating our stakeholders and our hospitality industry on how you interface with the media. Because the one little word here and there by the wrong person will kill you, cost you a lot of money. But we learn what we learn, and we are blessed. Remember, that Hurricane Ian caused some communities to lose their beaches and bridges. That's why that drone shot showing the bridges, the optics is, oh, wow, they have bridges. They're open for business. And a little bit of patience, and we're on our way. So great job, Colby.
I am going to continue this by introducing Amy Dawson, who is with Vulgren Martine. She's going to tell you a little bit more about our new marketing campaign that we're going to be shooting next week and also releasing in April. So, Amy?
Yep, and as Amy walks up, this is going to be quick. Amy's worked with us for a long time, websites and now agency. And we just wanted to give you a little quick sneak peek of what we're getting ready to launch probably shortly after Easter, because we're moving forward and it's time for a campaign.
Great. Thanks, everybody, and thank you, Elliott. So we were charged with coming up with a new campaign to market the Bradenton, Anna Maria Island, Longboat Key area. And there's three things that are really important in marketing a brand that is desirable, which obviously we know we have based on those airport volumes that we saw earlier, that is differentiated, the low-rise coastline, the quaint communities, the gorgeous beaches, and one that is defensible. We have all the proof points to say who we are and what we are. So we came up with a campaign. I'm not going to show it to you quite yet. I'll give you a little bit of a preview here in just a moment. But we're really focusing on that quintessential area. What is so unique about the Bradenton area? It's really desirable for people who are looking for that laid-back location, for the non-Disney, the not big high-rises on the beach, the not crazy spring breakers, to nature lovers, to people who really love arts and culture and history, and who love to eat local cuisine, the fresh Floridian cuisine that's available here in the Bradenton area. So we did some market research, and the reason why we did this is we really wanted to see if these concepts that we came up with were going to work before we did a full-scale launch. We also wanted to gauge perception and the market appeal, especially among your key demographics. We wanted to make sure that the campaign reflects the qualities and appeal of the area and that they align with people's interests, to evaluate the effectiveness of these new concepts, and then to get both qualitative and quantitative feedback. And we can always use research in improving our efforts as we move forward. So we did a sample of 400 participants in markets across the country, including New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Boston, Baltimore, Washington, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. This is a more affluent audience, as Colby mentioned in what she was talking about, skewing a little more heavily on the female side than male, ages 22 to 65 plus, couples, and also couples including children. And when we did this research, we found that most were aware of the Bradenton area but hadn't visited. So that's a big potential market for first-time visitors. There were smaller numbers, however, who had visited multiple times, which means there's an opportunity to increase the number of times they visit and deepen their engagement with the Bradenton area. So the sentiment from the campaign concepts that we showed was really strong. People felt these ads captured a relaxing and inviting environment in which they would enjoy vacationing. They characterized the area as relaxing, family-friendly, authentic, and an undiscovered gem. The majority responded positively, suggesting that they overall approved the concepts. They felt a sense of connection between these and the area. They found them to be memorable. And really, the key takeaway is that most felt that the Bradenton area would be a good fit for a vacation destination, with many feeling really positive about it. So with that, let me show you these elements that we're going to be shooting next week. Now, keep in mind, these are mock-ups. The actual shot will be executed next week in photo and video form. And these are largely, they look like print ads, but these are going to be in a lot of different applications, digital ads, video. So here we go. Take things at your own leisurely pace, showing these cottages on Anna Maria. Experience pure surround sound, showing the clock tower on Bridge Street. Indulge in our tastiest tradition, and the only thing fresher would be to catch it yourself. Really speaking to the fresh seafood and locally grown products that are available here in the Bradenton area. It's always been in our nature to enjoy and preserve the land, and there's more to explore beyond the beach, both of these highlighting the Robinson Preserve area. We let Mother Nature set the mood, and an alternative we have here is where every route is the scenic route. And then see the world in vivid local color and find your piece of paradise. So in total, we came up with a number of different variations here. We did have to pivot just a bit after the hurricane. In fact, we were going to shoot this campaign in October, right as the hurricane happened. So we had to adjust. The second image that you see on the top row, we'll have to hold for a while, unfortunately, and we did have an original concept with rod and reel that we had to hold. So these will begin being produced right after the campaign is ready to go. We're also shooting a 30-second video spot that we'll be able to use throughout paid media efforts and in other applications as well. So we're really excited. We've been talking with industry partners. We have a lot of enthusiasm on their part to participate in this, and as Colby mentioned, you will start to see this appearing in advertising in mid-April. Any questions?
I just have a comment. It's gorgeous. I really love it, and I think it'll really connect with. I could picture this in a Southern living, and people just looking at that and being like, "Wow, I want to be there." So it looks right on target. The one thing that I kind of have a question about is, so, we're saying the closest thing we have to a high rise, and we know that people come here, they love it, they keep coming, and then they say, now I want to retire here. And then they retire here, and then they're like, but wait a second, it's growing, and I don't like that. So it seems like there's a little bit of a tension there. Because, obviously, there's a quaintness and an old Florida feeling that we all love and we all want to preserve, but at the same time, we are a growing community. So how do we balance that?
And I'll help you out there, Amy. The closest thing to a high rise is really attributed to Anna Maria Island.
Sure.
So it can't build it any more than 35 feet.
Sure.
And I think the governments on the island have been good stewards to protect the real authentic Florida.
I agree.
And Lombo Key, I think where you sense that frustration is obviously the East County sprawl. Keep in mind that probably in 15 years, Lakewood Ranch will have a landmass size of 2 Manhattan, New Yorks, and Paris is a whole nother geographic location that's going to see extreme growth, and then you have the urban core redevelopment. So I think what it does, Commissioner, is it separates us optics from our competitive set, because Clearwater is high-rise in density. Yep. Broward County's high-rise in density, and we are not that.
I don't want us to ever be that.
Yeah, correct. So so we look at it, and that's why we go into the marketplace to get in front of our target. And as I've always educated you, it's always women, because you all make the decisions where the household goes. And it was vetted out where there was a comfort level there. Now, if we are doing an ad slick in Lakewood Ranch, or even the urban core, it's probably going to be a little bit more. We've talked about with the mayor of the urban core redevelopment as that moves forward, probably needs to be a little bit more dense. Definitely more multimodal transportation, because that's what our future wants. They want that multimodal. They want that density, the millennials, the Zs, and all that. So this was definitely targeted to Anna Maria Island, the barrier islands, let's call it. Hopefully I answered your question.
I think you answered it perfectly. Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
If I may. I came to Florida in '93, and I've been on Anna Maria Island for a wonderful, it's 26 years now. And I've had the hotel for 26 years. And I can only tell you the amount of people that have come and stayed with me, and we won't see them for a while. And they'll come back a year later and they'll say, we moved here. We love it. It's fantastic. Between Bradenton, Anna Maria Island, everything that the city and the island have to offer, they're happy. I have yet to have one say, we moved here and we're moving away. But quite a few. If I were to think about it over the years, probably under 100. But that being said, the many that didn't tell me that they've moved and haven't come back to stay with me for whatever reason says a lot about the area, quite a bit. Yeah.
And Commissioner, let me make one more comment. Goes back to the brand elements. They hit the marketplace right around 2012. It is an oddity that our brand elements haven't changed since then, because you reevaluate them probably, let's just call it every 3 to 4 years. Once again, we go to the target to reevaluate, and unless the characteristics of your destination significantly change, the brand elements shouldn't change. That's why they haven't changed. What is our problem? We got traffic a good 90 days a year going out to the barrier islands and back. But this board's been good stewards. The Board of County Commissioners have been good stewards. The cities have participated. We need to continue those multimodal enhancements, i.e. the water ferry that's come up on the agenda, to thin that crowd out and never stop, and be very targeted. Remember, that's how Florida has grown, through visitation. And if we target the right visitor that has the affordability to live here, I think that meets the objective.
I guess, Madam Chair, we do marketing, like our team does marketing so well, so people love it and they move down here. That fantastic story.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, and I feel like I talk a lot on this board now, but I think it's so important how we collaborate together with all of the communities, Manatee County, and all of our municipalities. And the important thing was, when our beaches basically got destroyed during Helene, we were all there to help, came in with the different PSOCs, working together with the beaches. And then obviously Milton came. But one of the things that I think was so important in looking through as a collaboration that we need to maybe play on a little bit more is, if you would have had to drive to the beaches and see those piles of debris that a few years back stayed for months and months and months. Manatee County, the other municipalities did a great job at cleaning from where they had to come from to get to the beaches. So I think that was so important, and I'll brag on the city of Bradenton. We actually had to turn our FEMA haulers away in 2 months because there wasn't anything more for them to pick up. Is there one-offs? I don't want to get Facebook and all that other stuff. Well, my house didn't get picked up, but there's always the one-offs. But from the DOT getting the boats off the causeway, which didn't look good going out to the beaches, from everybody working together all the way down to, you know, just anything. And we were proud that Governor DeSantis made a comment about Bradenton during one of that after Helene, that we did it in pounds, almost 1.5 million pounds picked up before Milton hit. Well, that was a testament to our government working together, not only the city of Bradenton, but Manatee County, because they opened the landfill on a Sunday for us, and we were able to work. But that's what I was going to tell Anderson Cooper when he got hit in the head. So it was kind of ironic that it happened right when, you know, he was talking with everybody else in Tampa and around us, but he wasn't talking to us. And, you know, we can differ politically at times, but in those times there is no politics. Unfortunately, it's played that way sometimes because they come, as we said, and then they go. And obviously, when Tony didn't show up on time, I had to fill in for the prayer. But, you know, I said about the unprecedented times that we got through and nobody died. And look at Asheville, North Carolina. They're still looking for people. And that's what we as a community want to celebrate, as well as then getting that other information out. And so I just want to say thank you. That was a great report, Colby, and what you did. And again, it's about us, you know, not individually, about as a county and a group. And again, we still have the best people. So I appreciate
Madam Chair, if you don't mind, because he'll talk longer than me.
Sure.
Sorry.
I've been quiet.
We've had our love battles over the years. Mayor, you were on this TDC, Jiten, Eric. I'm on record 5 years ago saying, let's promote more of the urban core and less of the islands, for just the reason that I mentioned, the traffic and all that. But because of the situation, we got to give those small businesses a push. So it's a little bit of the reverse. Once we see normalcy, then, and we've had internal battles in the office, right? Because it's easy to promote beautiful sugar white sand beaches, but so more, if the urban core is really going to redevelop and sustain, then we got to work together to showcase that. The water ferry is going to help. Raining like heck out here today. When we have our system running like it should, people should be coming off Anna Maria Island because they know there's a day of activities to do in the downtown, and it feeds it. So please know, I got my good friend Joe here with the media. This marketing plan isn't all about Anna Maria Island. It's a unique situation where we know that industry needs fed, and then we'll look into the fall on the next campaign and see where we're at.
No, and I agree. I'm sorry to jump in, but I agree that it is our beaches. It's Bradenton Beach for my family, 6th Street South, where my dad's childhood house grown up that he has now. Doesn't live in it full time, but it's about what happened there. It's about what happened. And again, there's many times now that, you know, I don't get out to the beach as much, but we've been there a lot more lately just to support the streets and the businesses. And that's what we hope the local people are doing more now, why it's catching up for the tourists to come back, and that's important.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
If I may, I'd like to give thanks to the city of Holmes Beach, the county, and what drew it home to me was the fact that I was wondering where were all these trucks coming from? Where in the world? And I walked up to someone and I said, what's up with this? And he said, the governor said he wants the sand out of here, and this is it. Just like that. And equipment after equipment. So thank you, Governor. Thank you, the county commissioners. Thank you, everyone. It was just a battle and a half, but we got through it.
Yes, Dan.
Madam Chair, I just want to say thank you, Amy, Colby, and Elliot. I had no idea what you were doing. I really didn't. And I don't think any of us on the island really understood what you're doing because we're focused on, you know, rebuilding. But thank you so much. That helps a lot. Appreciate it.
And I will say, I think it's exactly the right thing to do right now to reshift that focus to the islands and let everybody know we're ready for tourism. We're back. And so now we'll go over to Tony.
Yeah, I think Elliot read my mind or my notes. But yeah, I completely agree with everything that was said here. Coming here as a bit of an outsider, I mean, I've been working here now for over 9 years, but I came from Northern California. And I came from an area that, we have our own set of disasters and things like that. But going through these last 2 major hurricanes together as a member of this community and watching how this community respond, I got to tell y'all, this is a very, very special place. And it goes, of course, first and foremost to all of the municipalities, from all of the cities to the county, to even the state. But even more so than that, all the businesses, all the local businesses together, they rally. It's neighbors helping neighbors. It's, politics aside, competition aside, all of those different things. The community here is absolutely special. The resiliency, the resolve, and the ability to respond in an adverse situation is unlike anything that I'd ever seen, and I was blown away. And, I also kudos to Colby and Elliot and the entire marketing team for what they did. That is an incredible amount of effort to make those changes when you're dealing with a national media coverage that you need to now combat and change those, the word clouds. That doesn't happen overnight. That takes, first of all, dollars. That takes a lot of hard work, a lot of meetings in order to, okay, how can we strategize to make this happen? So you guys did a phenomenal job there. And Elliot, to your point, obviously I'm interested in the urban core, right? I'm a part of the urban core redevelopment with what I'm involved in. But that's not the sexiest part of what we sell. What we sell here and what brings people here is the Sugar White Sands of Anna Maria Island. And that's really what this is about. This is a tourist development council, and we need to get out there and we need to let everybody know and let our neighbors know out on the island that we're here for you. We support you. Your success, it's our success. We all work together. And so, Elliot, I'm not going to sit here and complain about the urban core not being included in this marketing campaign. There will be a day and a time that I do think that we do need to highlight some of the other amenities that also, honestly, after coming here, I fell in love with. And it's really the people in the community, even above and outside Anna Maria Island. So just great job to the marketing team of the CVB and Elliot. The way that you guys respond is just incredible. And obviously to the governments from the city of Bradenton, city of Palmetto, Holmes Beach, the way that y'all came together was absolutely spectacular.
Thank you very much. Now, I believe we're going to move on to our Art Center Manatee update from Carla Neiman.
Okay, Madam Chair, if I may, we have Carla and Bruce Spotty. Bruce is one of their board members. Actually, Bruce's beautiful daughter used to work for us. We miss her dearly. Tell Megan we said hello. Carla, if I can tee you up here. As some of you know that we're on the TDC, this TDC recommended a grant before the Art Center broke ground. Many of you have driven by the Art Center, the development, so it's coming along really, really well. Unless anybody's lived under a rock, we all know construction costs have gone up a lot in the past several years. So Carla and Bruce and Mark Barnaby and the rest of the board have worked tirelessly to continue to raise monies through philanthropy, and they've done a great job. We want to get this beautiful art center complete. So I wanted to have Carla give some visuals and give a little update, and then I'll ask for a recommendation.
Thank you, Elliot. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here today to share what's going on at the Art Center. I hope you have driven by and seen that we are really making an iconic building that is very different and will truly change the landscape of your entry into downtown Bradenton over the Green Bridge. Our building project started out of need. We were out of space for what the community was asking of us. And also we were dealing with a very, very tired building. We are currently at 10,000 square feet. We are going to have 28,000 feet, almost tripling our size. We currently have 5 studios, which generate revenue, which help us keep ourselves, not always having our hands out, but being able to be a supporter as well. In the new building, we will have 9 studios. We have single-story galleries currently. In the new building, we will have 2-story galleries, which will allow for larger installations and more noteworthy exhibits. We have space for rentals in the larger galleries, in the covered courtyard. And again, if you've driven by, you can kind of see straight through our building. I know the mayor has driven by many times since he lives there. The Arts Plaza, and also the multi-purpose rooms. So we are soon to be the Herrick Center for Arts due to a large donor who has supported us greatly through this process. So you can see the blue line on the left-hand side of the image. That is 9th Street on the left and 3rd Avenue on the bottom of the image. That is our current footprint at this time. You see this aerial rendering of the new building. When we get done with this building, phase 2 will be taking the front yard and making it into a sculpture garden and a green space for our community. We feel very strongly, and I know the mayor's heard me say this 100 times, that there is, you're either stagnant or you're growing as a community. Obviously, we want to be growing and not stagnant, but there can be a delicate balance between green space and development. So this was part of our thoughts towards our community and how we could possibly do that. Here's a rendering of that front space. This is on 9th Street. This is the 3rd Avenue view. What you're looking at right now is the gallery space. It is going to be covered in a pre-patina copper, which is extraordinarily beautiful and a painstakingly slow installation process. We're talking 2 months just to get that up, but it is beautiful. Here's an aerial shot from NDC Construction, who is doing the construction work for our building. Again, this is 9th Street on the bottom. And so you can kind of see the overview and how it's going to work with the development that's going on in the sand pile shortly after we are complete. Again, another view as aerial. You see our tired old building sitting there up on front, which is going to be a beautiful, beautiful green space. So we have been highly impacted by your willingness to support us as a destination in the cultural corridor. We've been in downtown Bradenton since 1937, so we definitely love the downtown area. We love our beaches too. Our new space will expand our ability to bring in guests from all over the world to teach, to exhibit, and to host conferences. The TDC has supported our capital project for this very reason. Your actions clearly demonstrate that you understand the value of art and its impact on our community. We are approaching a critical time in our building project. We still have funds to raise. Additional support from the TDC would be pivotal. We are grateful for your consideration today and very mindful and thankful of all the work that you do for our community as a whole.
Madam Chair, just a couple other thoughts here. Why is this important? I'll give you an example from my home city. If you go into downtown Pittsburgh, you know, and Mayor, you and I have been there, you know when you're in an arts and cultural corridor. When you have a prospective business that's kicking the tires in your community, there are a few top three questions. One is, what's the cost of the housing? Number two, what is the talent in the community that I can recruit? And either it's number two or number three, tell me about your arts and cultural community. Vital to business development. Number three, you're investing in a convention center in Palmetto. There's nothing better to continue to give these amenities for your attendees to be able to enjoy. Like Carla had mentioned, there'll be a exhibit space for traveling exhibits that they can see. I mentioned it earlier, a day like today, I'll always say the Brits that gets premature sunburn and they're looking for indoor things to do. You have now the Bishop, you have the Arts Center, you have the Manatee Performing Arts Center. Continue to build out your arts and cultural corridor. Why do I feel good about it? Because they're working hard to continue to raise money. Real candid, they're not looking for another just check. Bruce is an unbelievably talented financial man, and that's what gives me the peace of mind is he's vetted this out 10 times over. Bruce, I'll just have one question for you. With the 1.25 recommendation, and I've asked them to use this to get the CO only. So create a sense of urgency when they're going for philanthropy, other private grants. If based on your recommendation, let's only use this money to get to the CEO. I think that's fair. How much money, if this TDC recommended 1.25 million, the board approves it, what do you need to get to where you need to go?
Come up to the microphone.
Thank you, Mayor. Right now, we have, I think, and it changes daily because checks are coming in constantly. But Carla, correct me if I'm wrong, we're right at about 2.9 million remaining to complete the project. Correct?
And that's with or without the 1.25?
Okay, 3.2. The 1.25 then will bring that down.
Okay.
So we will
Okay.
be, you know, in a very good spot, you know, probably 1.75 million of a $15.5 million project.
And could I ask a quick question? So that includes just phase one, that's not including the sculpture garden, which is going to be a separate later phase, is that right?
The sculpture garden is.
Microphone.
Sorry again. Excuse me. The sculpture garden has already been funded by the CRA
Oh, wonderful.
and the Knight Foundation. So that's just waiting to be next.
Understood.
We're doing a TCO where we are just so that we didn't have to be closed for 4 months.
Makes sense.
Why they did that front garden.
Does anyone else have questions? Does anyone have comments?
I think I got that. So the garden's funded, the one that's set aside, that area. How is you gonna get a TCO, because you have to tear a building down before you can, so I understand that. So you can get to move in and operate a little bit, get rid of the other building, and then move on. Okay, I think I know where we're at.
Madam Chair, I'd go through a quick little synopsis. One of the things when I became mayor 5 years ago, first thing we did was bring to the board, which was trying to be brought to the board or city council for many years, but Carla said Third Avenue, but we've symbolically named it Avenue of the Arts because it was important that we highlight our Avenue of the Arts, which is the Bishop, the Art Center, and then Manatee Performing Arts. There was some talk over the years, and even when we got going, that somebody was trying to pull the Art Center out east. We love our cities to the east, but without that urban core arts and culture, what were we going to be? And most people probably, when they come in from north at the airport to get to the islands, they got to come past that. So it was very important for our CRA and that to fund the entrance to the city, which is trying to highlight. And you're going to see the entrances to all of our city becoming more of a focal point because in Manatee County, you don't know a lot of times if you're in Bradenton. You're in Bradenton, but you're not in the city. So long story short with that, this was something so important to keep going, and not only to the history since 1937, just to keep it the next step. And so, you know, it's well worth it. When we're ready for a motion, I'd like to make it if that's all right, but we'll kind of get going on what we're doing for the future. And those days, the water taxi will become more prevalent when all of these things keep coming online.
And so if I could just say really quickly, I am very excited about this. The rendering is just gorgeous. Visually, it's very, very attractive. I think that for us to really be that premier destination that people want to come to, the arts are vitally important. So just like Elliot said, when you have a day when someone's on vacation, they don't want to be at the beach, they want to do something different. This is just another one of those things that's really going to attract people to the area, make them want to come back. I'm excited for the expansion of studio space, the potential for some really cool installations. So I love this, and I'm excited to see it move forward. Mr. DeRusso.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I couldn't agree more. I mean, this is exactly what we were talking about increasing amenities outside of our beautiful beaches. So I'm a huge fan. It does look absolutely gorgeous. One of the questions that I do have is, where is the project at currently right now, minus this funding? Are you at a standstill right now? Are you on a hold pattern, or where is it?
Not. We secured a bridge loan.
Okay.
In February 4th, I believe it was. So no, we are able to move ahead on the project. We're doing, yeah.
Okay, and then as I understand it, Elliot, you were saying that this last contribution comes in at the CO or TCO, I guess, in this matter. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's, we want to see these projects get complete. And what it does for Carla and her board is now they can go leverage that out in the community. Steve Herrig, I'll tell you what, great community guy. What he's done for not only this, but Terra Nova, etc. Gosh, his awesome Italian restaurant now at the Suns building. So a big shout out to Steve Herrig. The Bishop Parker Foundation just gave you a really nice grant as well. So they'll get this done. I think for the TDC, my recommendation to be good stewards is it's hey, go ahead and if y'all recommend it, but let's be at the tail end of the project, and I think that makes good business sense.
Thank you for confirming. That's all.
Well, that makes sense, because that makes sure that everybody else knows that their donation is not gonna be left hanging, because they know there's the end.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of this. I had a couple of questions, because I understand how tough it's for a non-profit organization to complete in this ever-growing, cost-increasing construction times. How cooperative have NDC Construction been with you? I mean, have been there a lot of change orders, and
So, yes, there has been change orders. That is maybe less from NDC, but the impetus being Wanamaker Jensen, the architects. Small stuff like, oops, we forgot that Potter's wheels need electricity, things like that. So, we've been working off the contingency that we had in the contract.
Yeah, I'm just worried, like, towards the end, towards the finishing stages, we have been in constructions before, and how tough it can get, and not just the timing, but the chunk of money needed can really escalate. So I really hope there's some planning for that. And good. And one thing, just for our knowledge, have we ever, TDC funds has been contributed for this project, and how much so far?
Oh, yes, sir. 3 years ago, y'all recommended a $1 million grant that has been spent. So this would be additional to that $1 million grant. Yes, sir. I think it was 2-3 years ago. Those monies have been exhausted.
And the money justifies. I mean, I travel every week almost, and whichever city or tourism districts I go to, there is a very important arts component, and that is kind of a reason why we take events there.
Right. So I think also it's very iconic.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to be something that's different downtown, and so I think that's also a benefit for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, 20 years ago when I moved to Bradenton, downtown Bradenton was something else, and now it's totally different. So very proud to.
Growing up.
Yep.
It is. Mr. Wick?
I might add too, they have an excellent library in there too.
We have over 3,000.
I know, my wife tells me about it.
Yeah.
Artists.
110 boxes.
I know.
Back up that
I
line.
know. It keeps her out of the house every day. Thank you.
So, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to move forward with this $1.25 million additional monies.
And I'd like to, okay, go ahead. I was to say, I'd like to second, honor my wife's library work.
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And the motion passes, and so we have a recommendation for our board.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good seeing you both. Thanks for the wait.
Thank you.
You know, we didn't mention it, hopefully the Theater Conservatory might break ground this calendar year, so a lot of good things going on in that corridor.
Absolutely.
Good seeing you both.
Thank you. All right, and now we will move on to a PGA of America opportunity.
As you all know, we start working with the concession coming right out of COVID with World Golf Championship, and it really just helped feed the hospitality industry during the most adverse situation maybe in our lives. With that, as you know, we hosted the World Champions Cup. We've been a really good destination for professional golf. Some of you know we just finished the LPGA at the Bradenton Country Club, and then we have the Lecom Corn Ferry at Lakewood National in April. So working with Senator Galvano and the concession, we want to be able to bid on an opportunity to host for a 3-year period a senior PGA championship event. We like the seasonality of it, late April, early May. Quite candidly, we're going to push for more early May, kind of get us out of more of a peak season. We like the idea for NBC broadcast. That's 500,000 households. We like the 4-day competition for that room night generation as well. And then the economic impact estimate's about 25 million. Quite candidly, they're telling us it's higher. I'd like to be more conservative as well. Why is this important? Well, you got one of the best golf clubs in the United States. It's been in the top 100. I don't think you won't find a better private sector partner than Bruce Cassidy and his team at the concession. He's a Western Pennsylvania guy, for the record, as well. Mayor Brown, they come out of everywhere, right? And it gives us additional experience to brand that course for bigger PGA events. As you all know, we have a bid. The region has a bid on a PGA championship. If we're awarded that, we won't see that until 2033 at the earliest. But a lot of these decision makers really want to see experience, operational experience, players' feedback, etc. The icing on the cake, without mentioning his name, for golfers, it does give the opportunity that if we're awarded this in 2026, there is the most iconic professional golfer in our lifetime that would be eligible to play in that in 2026. So that would be the icing on the cake. So it would be 26, 27, 28. And you all have supported, along with the Board of County Commissioners, we do have a reoccurring $500,000 line item for these types of events. To be able to be competitive in this bid process, we would ask for a recommendation for $1 million per year for that 3 years. I've had good conversation with my counterpart at Visit Sarasota, so they're evaluating, and they're going to partner with us somehow, some way. So I'll be following up with them, but their equity partnership would be over and above what we would put in here. When will we know if we're awarded the event? Maybe as early as May. The event is up in Bethesda, Maryland. Dan, what's the name of that course?
Congressional.
Congressional, so thank you, sir. So it's a congressional, another iconic course. And you bring Mark Stuckey's FBOs at SRQ would be loaded up with corporate private jets. So it does bring an elite demographic and really caters to our mainland community. So with that, unless there's any questions, I'm asking for a recommendation of $1 million per year in this bid for a 3-year period.
I move the motion.
Second.
Okay, do we have any questions or comments, or are we just ready to vote?
Quick comment.
Okay.
I would like to make sure that as it's easy with Bradenton Country Club, but I would like to make sure that we really highlight the Bradenton area in all of it, because sometimes the concession gets, like Lakewood Ranch, but nobody knows where Lakewood Ranch is per se in the greater world, to the relation. And then also, I love our partners to the south, but it needs to highlight Bradenton area with the other because of the beaches and all that. So I think that's an important factor in marketing.
Thank you, Mayor. I need to hire you as my publicist. Yes, we've been known in lieu of 30-second television spots to do footage around play and to give the play-by-play in color notes saying that the shores of Anna Maria Island, the Riverwalk in downtown Bradenton, and we even showcase Lakewood Ranch. Bradenton area would lead by far. We love our friends to the south, but this would not be known as a Sarasota, Florida event.
I think, Elliot, if you can elaborate on last event that we did it about 5 years ago, and I thought it was pretty successful event as far as the local market captured on those NBC network or whatever.
It was. Total transparency, we thought they did a good job. We wanted more. So, it's that post-mortem. So we'll get with them in advance even further out. But now the PGA's starting to kind of get into rhythm with us because they're doing business with us an awful lot on what we want. And like Colby said, we have teams, drone teams out there, video teams out there. So we feed them the B-roll. And then they cut it. But the value is around play, not during commercials, around play because the viewer is watching at that point. And these little teasers that really immerse the viewer into our destination, showing our ecological parks, etc. So that's where we need to be, and we're excited we will get there. But Mayor Braun, it's a great comment. We're right philosophically in line with you.
Tony?
Yeah, I was just going to say actually exactly what the mayor said. I mean, when we do the sponsorship, I guess my question was going to be, do we get that televising advertisement opportunity? Because 500 million households on television is a huge opportunity for our team to highlight this region, and just hearing that is included is huge. And I'll just comment that these events are crucial to us. Golf, as far as tourism, is a huge amenity that we need to offer, and demonstrating that we have world-class events here demonstrates that we are a world-class golf destination. So I am a huge fan of all that Elliot and the team has been doing here with from the LECOM to the LPGA Founders Cup over at Bradenton Country Club, and the more we can continue to highlight these events at the concession, I think it's a great win for us in the community.
Thank you. Any more comments? All right, seeing none, I think we can vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. All right. And so we have our recommendation for the board. Now we can move on to our water ferry update from Elliot.
I'll tell you what, I know the mayor's my eye in the sky, and his wife being nearby the downtown Bradenton launch. But when the waters are calm, they're packing them in right now. There's a frustrating side because when the waters aren't calm and you got to suspend, it's like, you missed. Staff worked hard to make sure that the President's Day, there you go, Joe, get it out of your system. Got to have fun, right? President's Day, we couldn't run. The currents were too tough. The ferry that is being built right now should be able to mitigate, not all of it, but a lot of it. I was telling Commissioner Diggins, that the new ferry will be 1,000 pounds in weight. The pontoon catamarans are 30,000 pounds. So a lot more stability, a little bit quicker, 67 seats in interior. So it'll have heat, it'll have air condition. Yeah, heat's important because I'll tell you what, right now in the morning it's a little chilly, and we want to get those employees out to the island.
And it will have Wi-Fi.
It'll have Wi-Fi, yes, sir. Absolutely, and thank you. You were the reason why. Actually, the current ones have Wi-Fi.
Well, that was very important, I thought. So.
Yes. Bearing no bumps in the road, it should be in service in July, and that's why I added this to the agenda. Based on the amount of passengers, just plan on about a third of that is the amount of cars off the road. That's kind of the case study that we've been developing. But here's what we're looking for is because of the city pier on Anna Maria was compromised from Milton, and we no longer have the barges under hurricane recovery just west of those piers. We're running a 2-point system right now, downtown Bradenton to the historic Bridge Street on Anna Maria. So we were ready to accommodate that third ferry at the city pier. Now that we can't, we have to quickly shift gears and accommodate that at historic Bridge Street. That's going to be up to $100K. They got to add some piling, some ADA requirements. John Chappie and his team are really cooperating, and we've passionately told all the governments that we can't have a third beautiful $3 million ferry delivered and it's sitting at a dock because we can't land it anywhere. So there's a little Italian passion going on right now, but we'll get there by July. We also have to overnight, and Mayor Braun and City Administrator Rob Perry are working hard with us, running concurrently to be able to potentially modify the day dock to be able to overnight that third ferry. But in the meantime, we need to overnight it at a private dock. Annually, that's $120. And then the operating cost that includes insurance is up to $350,000. Keep in mind that is on projected on the same amount of passenger counts. So this is I kind of don't want to keep coming back to the board. Once again, there's a lot of trust there. That's why I'm using words up to, because what we don't spend, we don't spend. There's a lot of moving parts here. I'm working on a more robust report for the TDC and our Board of County Commissioners on all the tentacles that are going on. We're trying to bring the ferry down to Coquina Beach sooner than later. We're working on bringing it to Palmetto Estuary sooner than later. Charlie Hunsaker's working on the jetty on the west side of the Anna Maria Pier. And then Commissioner Diggins and I, we're not going to give up. Kingfish is maybe the only option, and if it's the only option, and if it takes 3 years, then so be it. Guess what? We're all in the water ferry business right now, and I'm excited to see where we're at in 10 years from now. So with all that, I'm asking for a recommendation up to $570,000 for the Board of County Commissioners decision to once again to keep this water ferry going in the right direction and enhancing it with more passenger counts. And right now it's working really, really well. If nobody has any questions, I'll seek a recommendation.
Madam Chair, thank you. Because I'm the new guy on the block, Elliot, I don't know the answer to this question. Does the revenue from the sale of the tickets, the 1,400 people who are in a 4-day period, does that go into the operating budget? Or?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have a third-party private sector firm out of Clearwater that operates the ferry for us. They hire all the crews, they maintain the boats, etc. They also are our point of sale system, so all the revenues go into the revenue column. Advertising, I mentioned to Commissioner Ballard, we're going to be, the team's going to be sending out a nice little ad slick reminding the business community that, hey, you can buy advertising on the water ferries. It's going to be a lot easier when that third water ferry is running. More people, less suspensions. But right now we're basing the revenues on the loads that we're getting now. And I like the conservative mindset with the opportunity to see that increase. I think we're also running, Keenan, I don't know if you know, we're going to shoot for Wednesday through Sunday in the month of March and through Easter. Shame on us if there's traffic going out to the island and the water ferries are sitting at the Bradenton Day Dot. Okay?
Thank you.
Madam Chair, couple things. First off, I just want to make sure that people realize it says budget to overnight third water ferry in downtown Bradenton. That is not anything to do with the city of Bradenton. It's just where they have to stay. And before I make the recommendation or motion, yesterday we had a backup. We had a water ferry slam full at 420, waiting for the other water ferry to pull out, slam full at 420 last night to go to Bradenton Beach. So those businesses, you know, because again, if they were leaving to go at 420, they had to come back sometime 7, 8 o'clock, whatever it was. But they were all going to eat dinner on Bradenton Beach. They were all going to shop on Bradenton Beach. And several times I've driven Bradenton Beach now and the street there, Bridge Street, is I walk in and talk to the businesses and don't really tell them who I am till toward the end, but to find out what's happening. And they said without this water ferry, they don't know that they would have been able to survive, several of the businesses, especially the smaller businesses. So it's a good thing, and I'd like to make the recommendation to go to the county commission to spend up to $570,000 for the multimodal initiative that Elliot's brought forward.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Would all in favor please say aye? Aye. All right, we have our recommendation.
Thank you.
So now we can move forward to DeSoto Historical Society events. Gus?
Madam Chair, they look like my security detail for the day.
I love it.
I'll tee you up, Gus. I thought he would bring pizza this morning, but I forgot he's out of that business. As many of you all know, Gus, for many, many years, just a good community steward. And I'll preface this. Some of you were there. On the fly, we worked with Chris Colhan out at the center and many nonprofits, and Gus and his team stepped up to help us promote and do the Leonard Skinner concert in a 3 weeks notice. And just a quick commercial. It ended up raising $380,000 for the Barrier Islands hospitality community. And I know John Horn just gave the FRLA board a update, and it's whittled down to maybe 30,000 left. So, but DeSoto in a New York minute stepped up and helped raise a lot of money for the greater good. So with that, Gus and the board met with me about a month ago, and like anything, operating expenses is going north. The parade is iconic. They have out-of-town business, but really, as your tourism director, we know that initiatives that they do bring in out-of-town business. My heart as a community servant is what they do for the charities, doing what they do, and that's most important. So after having a good conversation with Gus and Rick Parcels, and Gus will give a little commercial here, is they need about $75,000 to get them through the parade and some other activities, and then come the next year up to $100,000. So total transparency, and maybe selfishly, I'd rather just do it in one swing. Up to 100, we grant them 75,000, and then I'm already loaded for our next fiscal year, October 1, so we don't come back and do things twice. So with that, good morning, Gus.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair and Council. Thank you for having us here today. Thank you for the amazing introduction. Before I begin, I will have to say, 5 years ago, Hurricane Michael struck the Big Bend and Mexico Beach. A couple of years after that, my wife and I were driving back from Pensacola, and we decided we like to take the scenic routes, and we decided to drive down towards Mexico Beach. And 2.5 years later, the devastation was still there. So kudos to what Elliot and Colby and the marketing team, county staff, city staff, all the municipalities, amazing job to bring life back to our most visible asset in Manatee County. So thank you, great job. So I know you probably know a little bit about us, but I would like to say the Hernando de Soto Historical Society was founded in 1939, which was exactly 400 years after the landing of explorer Hernando de Soto. So since then, we, at the end of April, hold a parade to celebrate the spirit of exploration. And so we bring a lot of visitors to Manatee County. We fill up hotels here in the area, and we actually have a lot of people that have moved into Manatee County because of coming to here and seeing what this area has to offer. My apologies, though, to Todd Hubbard, our General Chair. I'm not a very good public speaker, so I brought him for some moral support. So thank you, Todd, for being here. But a little bit about what we do in the community. And yes, we volunteer when anyone needs anything. We received a phone call from the city of Bradenton right before Milton was coming in, and we needed to stuff bags. So we ended up sending people up there, and we worked, I don't know how many hours, but we were able to step up and help there as well. So that is what we do. More important, we do back up the Bradenton Blue Foundation with the police department. We build beds for kids with that charity. We stuff backpacks with Kids Against Hunger. We provide diapers to the Still Point Mission. And we're actually working on a new project right now with Manatee Kiwanis about a family day that's coming up here during the Marauders baseball season. We're going to help facilitate building bikes and storing bikes, and they're going to distribute everything, so we have a big day coming up. So volunteerism is our big thing. Most importantly, safety in everything that we do is the #1 priority. And obviously, we all hear of all these, the craziness that happens in parades and big events and everything else. And so we have taken some proactive steps in coming in and saying, you know what, this parade needs to be barricaded the entire route. We don't want to take any chance. We have an amazing history. We haven't had any fatalities ever in our parade, knock on wood, and we want to keep it that way. And barricading a parade, which is about 3.5 miles both ways, with every foot of that route blocked off, is very cost prohibitive, and so we come to you and ask for that. And additionally, we also are bringing a huge pre-parade block party to downtown, which will help all the businesses up here. We did it on a smaller scale last year, and we received amazing reviews, and everybody's looking forward to doing it again. And I think I have covered everything. If you have any questions of me, please let me know.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the forward thinking on that, because obviously safety at an event like this is a huge priority. So I totally understand the reason for the request and appreciate you being forward thinking about it. Do we have any other comments, questions, or do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. You've got your recommendation.
Thanks for waiting, guys. Appreciate it. Good to see you both.
Okay, and so now we can move on to new or old business. Do we have any new or old business?
Madam Chair, I was remiss. I should have added to the agenda, and I know Commissioner Siddiq.
Oh, I
was
apologize.
here.
I forgot.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I said I apologize. I forgot that you brought that up at the beginning.
Oh, no, that's okay. Obviously, you're the chair for this year. Commissioner Siddiq is the vice chair in the event that you're unable to attend the TDC meeting. In years past, we've always had somebody from the TDC, voted by the TDC, as a fill-in chair in the event, God forbid, you get a flat tire, something comes up that morning, we want to continue to have the meeting. So with that, if I could, with your permission, if we can get somebody to nominate a substitute chair in the event that you're unable to attend last minute, we cannot get a hold of Commissioner Sadiq or he's unable to, then we can still have the meeting.
I'd like to nominate Mayor Brown.
I second, yeah.
That's a no-brainer.
All right. So,
Thank you, that's appreciated.
You didn't stand a chance.
do we need to vote on this? Yes?
I-
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, Mayor Brown.
You didn't say nay.
No wonder I saw a sign out there when I
It
parked that
sounded
said,
pretty
vote,
unanimous.
vote Gene Braun for.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, just a couple odds and ends and I'll stop talking. Convention Center, going well. Many of you have driven by it. Right now, we're earmarked to be pretty much complete by August 1st. So it's going really, really well. Can't wait to give you a hard hat tour. Of course, we're connected to Tony's Hotel. And I'll tell you what, it's pretty exciting to walk around there. It's becoming really real. So stay tuned for that. We did, most of you have known Ann Watine through Research Data for, she was with Research Data for north of 30 years. And Research Data decided to close their doors. Mayor Braun, Eric, Jiten knew the late Dr. Klages, who was he started Research Data. He was an icon in the state. And, after he passed, they started to wind things down. So the good news is we just hired a new research firm last week, Downs St. Germain. They're the leaders in the state of Florida for doing what they do with tourism bureaus. So we're going to try to have Joe St. Germain to come say hello at the April meeting. But we're going to be very careful because research is research. It's very artistic. The neat thing is they're contracted with Sarasota County as well. And what we're going to do is the first year, we're not going to compare it to the last year, because I don't want to assume that the methodology was 100% consistent. The good news is, we'll have the tax collector to look at years prior and all that, but they'll do a good job. Kelly's worked with Down St. Germain. Colby's worked with them in the past as well, so there's a really good comfort level there. So we turn the page, and like I said, we'll try to have them to say hello at the TDC meeting. It's going to take a little bit of time to ramp up. So we're excited to get them rolling. And that's all I have, Madam Chair.
Wonderful. Do we have anything else for any?
Right, couple things, obviously, big TDC events that throw in is the regatta. We had this past weekend. Just want to promote that a little bit. It was the 10th anniversary. Friday night, which it was only been a couple of years since we've been doing Friday nights with the fireworks. We talked about the drone show. The drone show was actually great last year, but it left you wondering because it just, it's no boom boom where the fireworks put the boom boom in. So City of Bradenton, we stepped up with that part of it and funded the fireworks to add to the drone show. And it was just spectacular. We're guesstimating that there was 15,000 people on the Riverwalk Friday night, which that's almost close to a July 4th event.
Wow.
And then Saturday, back again, perfect weather. We're guesstimating close to 85,000 people. And obviously that's funded through the TDC, through Manatee County, City of Bradenton, City of Palmetto, all that we're doing. So just kudos to that. And I know that's probably going to have to come back to this board to go back to the county commission. I think is that the 2 years up?
Yeah, thank you. Mayor, I can't believe it's been 10 years.
Right.
Can you?
I know.
It's crazy.
It's great.
Some of the new TDC members will be coming to you in June to recommend the 2-year budget. At that point, the regatta will be in that 2-year budget in June, so it won't be separate agenda item. It'll be packaged as almost a reoccurring, like other initiatives that this TDC's supported. So we'll bring it back in June.
No, I think that's important. And I'll tie two things together. The Pirates in City Park, obviously Major League Baseball started spring training Saturday. We were grateful to Major League Baseball. They didn't schedule us a home game on Saturday because of the regatta, but yesterday was our opening day, and we had close to 6,000 people. Just for tourists out there listening and people watching and everybody on this board, we have a new traffic plan where you have to go south to go north now from the ball field. So trying to, you know, we hear people talking, we live it, we drive it, but it's important to try and I haven't got the breakdown of yesterday from the game yesterday, but going south, you know, you don't go to any ballpark, Tampa Stadium, all that. You go the way they tell you. So we're not trying to drive everybody in downtown. Sunday was easy. Tomorrow will be the Braves. We hope most of their people will want to go south. Friday is I always want to say Devil Rays, but the Rays. So we're going to see. So we're trying on the traffic. But the biggest thing is City Park has kind of broke ground, which, again, another funded by the county and TDC. And hopefully you're going to start seeing a lot of stuff happening there with City Park around LECOM, which will be mobilizing that park 12 months a year instead of just 6 weeks during Major League Baseball. So thank you to the TDC for that. And I can talk a lot, but I just think that it's a great thing for people to hear, because we do see the social media, as Colby would say, that it gets a message that maybe is not what's true, but we have to work together and collaborate. And through the TDC, through all of the municipalities in the county and all of our partners, it's fun to be in Manatee County.
It is. Do we have any other comments, any other new or old business? All right. With that, we are adjourned.
Thank you all.
Make sure you give them a nap.
There was some smoothness to it.
Yeah.